Hello. I was blabbering the whole time and nobody can hear me. Zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom. Transform. Edit transform. It's very crazy zoomed in, right? I feel like I'm almost blasting the box. How can we fix that? Size, position, rotation. Oh lord. But it should be fine, right? Let's go to main screen. Here's a little bit better. Is it because the camera is like this? My dude. What is this actually? Huh. I don't know, man. Yeah, that's fine. So, how are you today, chat? Oh, now it's lagging. How is everyone? Are we fine? Are we good? Are we crazy? So, we're almost starting here to the Tactician's Crown of Magic and Mayhem Day 2. And again, we want to watch all the 5 lobbies and see how players are eliminated and everything, but especially we want to analyze how the game is going and which comps are being played and what comps are dominating and so on. I made a little bit of research about day 1. It's a little bit difficult because it was very hard to catch the first one and then also to really find out which comps are played mostly or which comps are you know, to find out the different varieties of comps. So we have like Shapeshifter Syndras, like Shapeshifter in Kantor, but we also saw Shapeshifter with like dragons. We also saw Shapeshifters combined with Frost, all of these things. So it was not so easy to say, okay, these comps were played most consistently. Yeah, there are some, like for example, Hunter Jinx. We saw Hunter Jinx like literally every game, like 25 games. We saw Jinx Hunter. But we also saw 2 times Kog'Maw Hunter, like all of these different comps, and so I was not really sure like how to say, yeah, these comps were played only and everything else was not really played. So make it a little bit smaller, so this might increase the, yeah, that's a little bit better. Nice. And then we also had like special comps like Deja Vu, High Horsepower, we saw Witchy Wallop, we saw Sweet Tooth, Nunu, all of these things. We saw Spin to Win, Wukong. So not every time, or not all the comps were considered the same. So it was a little bit difficult to say, yeah, these comps we can differentiate. So also when we go over our meta TFT sheet here, since this is already with patch 1422, it's a little bit difficult to see how good the comps are performing in general in patch 1421, because this is already patch 1422 and worlds are being played on 1421. So what I did was I was writing down the comps that were played, putting all of them here to see, okay, these are the comps in general have been played. Like there was also, for example, one Sugarcraft game, but there was also a Warrior game later, like where somebody actually picked 6 Warrior instead of just Sugarcraft Warrior. So I try to manage as good as I can to catch all the different comps that's been played. And I couldn't really finish all of these things because I was quite busy today. So yeah, these things are not fully evaluated yet. So we're gonna see if we're gonna do this after the stream, or meanwhile, or when we have time for that. So, or like if we do it in the end of the stream, it can also be. So for now,
fire and maybe even save the bees, all to stir up some serious mayhem.
yeah, we have seen a lot of crazy comms, like all the different comms could pop off, and I hope today we are actually able to catch more detail, and I hope we can actually make it that we can catch every single comp here, so we have all the comps in the end together and we can say these are... You cannot hear me? Oh my god, what? You cannot hear me, but I'm talking and my microphone says it has... My Twitch is so loud. Oh, okay. Wait. Twitch, shut up. Okay. Yeah, we're watching this intro of Teamfight Tactics here, the Tactician's Crown intro. Is it now better? I hope it's better now. I didn't rewatch actually my stream from yesterday. Maybe I should have done that. But welcome to the stream! And I hope you're fine. I hope you're doing okay. It's okay, but yeah. It's loudish. Okay, maybe now it's a little bit better. Or we decrease the volume. I mean, for me it's also very annoying if they're very loud. Maybe we can make a little bit less here so it's not crazy loud for you. Maybe like this.
We've got Panda, Gangly, and Crowan to join us on the start of the broadcast. How are you guys doing? Welcome
So,
back for another day.
yeah, this anyways blabbering. I was just explaining what we're gonna do today. That we're gonna have day 2 here. We're gonna again collect all the comms, trying to figure out what comms are played most and most successful. We're gonna do this again. Boom. And that's beautiful. Here we need to take the placements out. I didn't do that. So, and then we're gonna catch the comms as they're being played. We have Fairy, we have Fairy is basically, but we have Fairy multi, we have Fairy pre-server, we have multi reroll, we have Bastion Ari, we have Bastion Lilia, we have Bastion...
You stole my first answer, but the second one, Bard 3 on level 6, right?
Bastion Arcana.
But that's the kind of creativity I love seeing out of TFT. And
That would be Bastion Ari Rise.
Absolutely.
For me, it was probably the Sweet Tooth. We didn't get to, we were certainly not expecting it, and the fact that we got to see it not once but twice was a a tasty treat. And
We have Vanguard Mage, we have Vanguard
Well, in case you missed
Blaster,
all of the action, check this
Vanguard
video out to catch you up to
Arcana.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to
Bro.
the official Teamfight Tactics channel, where we
Hunter
are so
Jinx,
excited
we
to bring
have
all of the
Hunter
action
Kog'Maw.
for the Magic and Mayhem Tactician's Crown. These for later, but that is a huge hit for Stinky.
Right there, if the Olaf is there to take away targets, there could be a chance, but doesn't look like it.
It's too much there from Bio. Takes it away and Stinky.
We have
So Bio, Neckar was right all along.
Warrior.
First game of the night.
We have Chrono.
Have our next lobby ready here, and it's going to be this one. Could be,
We have
be
Portal.
the final fight between Robin and
We have
Seraphine.
Scholar.
To try and hit that Jinx as soon as possible. Will she do so? No, she actually goes to the other side, but it's been
Russian
done.
Portal
And
Mage.
Theo
Yeah,
takes
Pure
yet
Mage.
another first
Like
play
7
to
Mage.
annihilate
Wait a
it.
second.
Accident can't do it.
Here we go. Last gas comes
Hunter
through.
Kog'Maw
Oh,
Eldritch.
Master's
Eldritch. We have Shape. Shapeshifters.
Did give him a chance of actually hitting the Jinx early. The Prowler's Claw is actually going to get him targeted, though.
Whoa!
We have Honeymancy.
CN tech. Why does CN have like 7 different Ezreal techs?
This is 2 out of 2 Filipino players.
Yes.
It's sitting in the top 4 of the standings out of day 1.
Wow.
Yeah, Array and Mald.
Incredible 6 games we had today. 32 players going to be moving forward to day 2 of our competition, where things are going to start getting really tough. You're not going to want to miss it. Well, if you're here, it means you're not going to be missing it. So that's great stuff. We got to look at those standings, though, because this is where the day
So
is
then
going
we
to start to
have.
get really
Am I missing
tricky. We only
something?
have 32 players left, but at the end of today, we're going to have 8 to play through championship.
We have
Center. So let's take a
Shapeshifter
look at the bottom of our
Smolder.
standings first.
I want to make one quick point for this page specifically. The Miracle
We
Run
have
is still, in
Shapeshifter
the realm of possibilities. We go back to Monsters
in
Attack.
Contour,
Set 8,
and we
Tech
have
Summers went from 24 points in day 2 to a day 3. Someone like Double 61
Shapeshifter
at 30 at
Eldritch.
24 points can still make it.
I think if there's any player in EMEA that you want to kind of have that shot, it's Double 61, right? It's those players who
That would be Warrior Pre-server.
Double 61 has what it takes, and I'm a believer in the Miracle Run.
Absolutely. Another player had what it takes. Ironbog, right? That 8 Bastion Callista to make it into that 23 points, barely on tiebreakers into day number 2.
That's a Portal Mage, Witchy Wallop. Yeah, okay, these.
Performing, so expect to see a player like Ironbog really do shoot towards the top.
We also have to keep our eyes on Dish Soap, though, and Tidal, Wanmie. These are 3 players right now, all sitting at 22nd through 24th,
Bastion,
that have won a Tactician's
Witchy
crown before.
Wallop.
And in fact, we ended up seeing Dish Soap and Wanmie in the bottom 8 of the standings
Maybe
yesterday,
Bastion,
having to make those big
Horsepower.
clawbacks, as you can see in their scores for the final 3 games, to actually find themselves here in the 24 so far.
Handful of other surprises.
Then we have
there too. Robin and SCSC come to
Honeymancy,
mind, but we talked about those 3
Nunu,
other
no,
Titans.
Sweet
I
Tooth.
mean, at this point, we're moving up to the top half of our standings, and this got a handful of favorites as well. The one that comes to mind here is Achun, who did take an 8th place. We talked about the importance of momentum in TFT. I think Achun taking the 8th in the final game of the day, it's actually kind of nice. You
Mage
get a
Blaster,
second to
Chrome,
relax, to
Triple
breathe, to
Eldritch,
review your VOD, and start new.
Yeah, but then look at this top 8 here, right? The APAC
Sugar Mage,
dominance.
Arcana
America's finding
Blaster.
a couple of players in there as well with Milk and Bio. Also seeing with Zhue as well.
Do I miss
So this is
something?
going to
Vanguard
be what we
Blaster,
look
Pre-server
forward to
Encounter.
as
Oh
we
yeah,
take a look at
Pre-server
the
Encounter,
7
but
games
it's
today.
very
These points
rarely
are gonna
played.
carry over, so very, very important that the players that are at the bottom are going to be able to start off strong. But when we take
Aro,
a look at just
Ari.
region representation and which regions were performing the best,
Mage
got some
Sugar
numbers to
Vanguard,
show
Hunter
people
Kog'Maw,
for
Mage
what
Ram.
actually ended up happening yesterday. We've got the win rate as well as the top 4 rate for the splits.
So keep in
Vanguard,
mind,
Shapeshifter,
the stats we see
Scholar,
behind us
Hunter.
are for the regular season, everything up to this point in time. But now we're actually kind of seeing things, the roles reverse, right? Going into the event, EMEA and America on top for both top 1 rate and top 4 rate. Right now, though, APAC's kind of dominating. It feels like everything's kind of flipped on its head.
The moment this segment opened up, I knew the spotlight was on me and my region. EMEA came in as the highest win rate overall in our own region for the 8, the players representing our region. Coming into this day 1,
EMEA
very
actually
much
has-
not the case. A lot of reroll was not played by EMEA, which we've seen in terms of the play style has been the best performing play style across that day 1.
And there's so many players from EMEA who have just such fantastic first place
Screenshot
rates,
of
right?
this.
Volta comes to mind. Every single tournament that Volta played this set was above a 20% win rate. Ended off the set with 28%, right, coming to this event. That's why we see EMEA and be like, oh yeah, they're going to win a lot of games.
I always say, stats are not prescriptive, they're descriptive. They're not going to tell you what's going to happen, but it tells you what players are capable of. And even
Crazy
though
color
had
choice
Forte
here
yesterday, these players
of
that
clothes.
are at the bottom of those standings still have a chance. Those are actually the players with a high win rate. Those are the players you actually can believe in to get that 1-1-1 and slingshot their way up the standings.
When we look at those standings, there is one region that is sitting above the rest, and yes, that is APAC. But there's 2 players in particular and one region in particular that's really making APAC stand out right now, isn't it?
That's right. I mean, that region is the Philippines. You think since the dawn of competitive TFT, the Philippines as a region have been largely overlooked. And for a very long time, when people thought of the Philippines, they
Say
thought of
that
a
all the
single name,
time.
Jose Paulo.
Yep.
And the Philippines was not eligible to compete for a spot at the international stage for a very long time. And kind of over time, regions rise, stars are born. Jose Paulo and the rest of the Philippines start to fade from the front of people's minds. But everything changes in set 12. Araya and Mauled become not only the first, but also the second representative on the global stage for the Philippines. They take the platform that Jose Paulo and the rest of the Philippines have built, and they're amplifying it. They're screaming from the rooftops, look at me, you cannot count us out, and now they're sitting in the top 8. And they have a real shot, real contention to take that Tactician's crown home back to the Philippines. Going into this event, Araya and Mauled were not favorites, but they were main characters. And right now, we're living in their story.
I want to talk a little bit about how maybe underrated they were actually coming
crazy.
into the event. We had that draft that was really able to kick things off for our first 2 lobbies. And Mauled and Araya were among some of the first players actually picked. So maybe a little bit of disrespect actually getting sent that way. And now here they are proving to everybody that you cannot underestimate them. You cannot underestimate maybe even the smaller regions within APAC because they have statements to make.
Well, and I think the perfect contrast of them being picked early in the draft, you then look at how someone like Araya played the game, going off meta, playing 3 non-reroll compositions in the top 8, the only player in the top 8 to have that many reroll, and Mauled, a player who was underrated by pretty much everyone coming into the event, has made it into the top 8, playing the meta better than nearly everyone else in the field. I mean, it goes to show that even though they were underrated, they were still confident.
Well, we'd love to take a moment to actually celebrate one of those players. We have a special guest with us on broadcast right now, and that is Mauled. First off, congratulations on your impressive play yesterday. I'm wondering how you're feeling today.
Continue the momentum that I got from yesterday, and hopefully I can make it to the top 8.
Mauled, you are doing something incredible, not just for yourself, but you and Araya are both representing the Philippines for the first time at the Tactician's Crown, and I'm wondering what this moment means to you.
It means a lot that not only I qualified, but also Araya qualified with me. It makes it seem like it's not a fluke
great.
because both of us qualified. And it's really big for our server because its player base isn't really that high, and it's not a very popular game amongst the people in our country. So hopefully our performance here can spark some interest and more people want to play TFT.
I think so,
great
because
words.
Mauled, you also did an impressive job at the APAC Golden Spatula, and that was off the back of maybe getting that golden ticket you needed to actually compete at the event. What clicked for you at the Golden Spatula that you feel like got you the success?
Going into Golden Spat, I wasn't really sure of the meta because I had not been playing for about 2 weeks. And so when I finally learned that it was a reroll meta, which is something that I'm very comfortable with, I felt really confident going into both days. And yeah, somehow I managed to pull it off the back of watching VODs of some of the other great players.
You crushed it. So it's so awesome to see your performance there. And it also translating to day 1, where you also stuck to your guns, you played the reroll, and in fact, you actually played 5 out of 6 different lines for your games. So how do you feel knowing that all that hard work is paying off for day number 1 so far?
It feels great, but I'm trying to not be complacent. I'm still far away from going to get my goal, which is to make top 8. And so I really just want to stay consistent and do my best in this day too.
Well, we're rooting for you, and we know that there are so many people at home that are rooting for you as well. Do you have anything that you'd like to say to them before you get going for your day?
I just want to thank everyone for the support that they gave me and for those people who believed in me, that I can pull this off. I'm doing all of this for you guys.
Thanks so much for joining us, Mauled, and good luck today.
Thank you, guys.
I wanted to quickly mention just how important I think it is that Mauled has very quickly identified the importance of kind of the regional responsibility. The fact that he sees this as me sparking interest in other players from the Philippines is so important.
It's crazy,
for the long term of the region, of the country. I think a great example and a great trailblazer, really, for the scene.
Yeah, I also want to mention really quick, just a line to hone in on, do not be complacent. That is the success story of any great competitor. You are going to do good, you need to focus, need to still reach higher heights. Do not be complacent, always be improving.
You know, it's not just Mauled and Araya, though, that are making these big statements. We have a ton of other players that find themselves in day 2 of the competition that can continue to avalanche some of those stepping stones for themselves. So I'd love for us to kind of talk about those players.
I mean, the one that comes to mind for me is Tucci from CN. This is a player who, you know, four-time TOC.
That's the arena in
competitor, but his first
Chinese
time actually
servers.
competing
So
on the Chinese
crazy. Look at
stage.
this.
You know, that is
They
a
built
big,
this
heavy
huge
burden to
arena
see
and they're
many
playing there
players come
for,
to the
I don't know
Tacticians
now,
ground for the
2
first
weeks
time
or
and really
something.
fall short. But
It's amazing.
because of his performance at the TOC, it actually really inspired a lot of confidence from the CN community and is now kind of heralded as one of the favorites from CN.
Yeah, and the reason why Tucci is one of the favorites is partially because they are so good at rerolling, right? That wasn't their story in the TOC, however. They hit checkmate pretty early and had to play these very
Oh, Camille
high-cap
blocked
lines, but
Diana
for
here
the
from
yesterday
dashing.
was 3 reroll lines and
Amazing.
3, going for those 4 costs, those 5 costs, and actually had a bit more success in that reroll. But just going to speak to the caliber of player that Tucci is, he has a lot of practice on both of these play styles. Rerolling, obviously very good for days 1 and 2, and then that high cap to really reach out that first place on day number 3.
And I want to talk about Darkest. They are a unique player in EMEA. They're someone that's had a lot of heartbreak in Set 11 Inkborn Fables. Second place, one of the cups, almost becoming champion. 11th place in the Golden Patch and Regional Finals, missing a chance to come to the global stage. This set, Darkest, after just having a tough Cup 3, they were going to retire. They made a post about it. I can't compete in TFT anymore. It's too much for me. They then realized they qualified to Golden Spatula off of the last spot through qualifier points. Now they make it to the global stage, and they come in and they perform at such a high level. I'm just so happy for Darkest, especially because they're doing it with a very unique playstyle.
Yeah, and also first picked in the draft. We really want to talk about how these draft results are actually playing out. But Darkest did amazing yesterday. Ended up actually having an AVP of 4.17, played 3 different reroll comps, but also looked in alternative directions to be able to play a little bit more along those 4 cost lines. The 4 cost lines were maybe a little bit better, but I think still taking
In general, like I believe 4 costs, in the end they cap out higher. I feel like
being first picked in the draft,
it doesn't really matter in which way they are played, but somehow they reroll comps get to top 4, but they're not really having the potential to win the matches or win the rounds. So, and you can also see that in the win rates. Like the win rates are in the reroll comps are not as high as here, like for example Deja Vu, you have Zap Attack, you have Zap Attack with Blitzcrank and Veigar. These reroll comps, they're not capping out very high, and there are other comps, like especially the 4 cost plus, that are actually outrunning everybody else. We see Sugarcraft Gwen here with a 18.9% win rate. Witchcraft with Ryze, Fiora and Morgana as their carries. Eldritch that can cap out extremely high with Xerath in the end, and Briar 2, which is almost indestructible in the end. And these comps are so crazy stable. Shapeshifter here, 18.1% win rate. It's just reroll comps have the trouble that you spend all your gold to find your units, you make your top 4, but it's very difficult to actually hit a win in the lobby. Then they mostly go second or even third than in these lobbies. So very nice that that they pointed out here.
Talk about Sobio as a player though, because this guy has serious riz, serious like chemistry. It's so phenomenal watching him play. It feels like magic.
Yeah, absolutely. Sobio is fantastic. The only player amongst the 40 to win 3 games yesterday, did it on a really great reroll lines as well, right? Sobio coming from the America's Golden Spatula. It only played 1 game as Raka Seraphine, but played actually 2 games yesterday. First placed both of those, is really coming out the gate swinging.
I called him the most electric man in TFT. I'm going to keep saying it until it sticks.
And the statement that
I think also like it's a huge support actually if these people stream while they're playing. Like if they're streaming their journey throughout the Tactician's Crown, I think it's a way bigger support and way bigger uplifting than playing like in a room with nobody and you have to figure out your own path. And especially like if you lose some rounds or you have a bad RNG time, then it can be very frustrating, where a chat can extremely support your confidence or like your resilience towards the game.
A little bit about maybe the mage reroll and maybe a couple of other things that our players have played, but let's give you the real stats behind what we saw on day number 1.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Top 6 comps that we looked at first.
I really want to touch on multis. I was a big, believer, shill on this comp coming out of regional finals, I think for good reason, and we saw it again perform at a very high level, and especially because in 2-1, you're able to really tell the rest of the lobby, I'm going into this line, do not contest me. You send a very strong message usually, and that allows you to perform at a very high level.
In contrast, I want to talk about Hui, because this 5.3 average, I actually think is a little bit fake. I think what's happening right now...
I feel the same. I feel the same. We have so many crazy good Hui runs. It's so weird that it's 5.3. It's so weird, man.
They are angling towards Seraphine or Shiraka, or they're angling towards Ahri, but then they don't want to be contested. And when those other lines are taken, they say, okay, well, I don't have enough gold for Rise, I have to play Hui. I think if we actually see the players playing Hui from ahead, from tempo, in the conditions in which it can succeed, if you have the HP to shore up some of those weak matchups, it actually can do well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at Panda, seeing how strong of a reaction you have.
Unlike Gangly, I'm keeping it civil on the sofa.
Okay,
I'm not being possessed.
A better man than I.
And quickly, right, the couple of comps at the top, there was that Jinx and that Seraphine, right? Those rerolls that were absolutely fantastic. I think, personally, I expected to see more Jinx than Soraka Seraphine, but they're actually both equally good.
Okay. Yeah, I counted Ahri reroll 25 times. And they say 19 times here. Maybe because if we combine these two, we had 26, so maybe they say high horsepower is not Ahri reroll.
We didn't actually see a whole lot of Syndra, so that was a surprise for me.
I think every region is now caught up. They analyze the VODs,
Syndra is
different
just
regions,
shitty.
they've seen the competitors, what they're
It's just
playing, what they
not a
play
good
to
champ.
get to this global stage, and now I think it's pretty even in terms of everyone knows the meta, everyone knows kind of how to optimize these lines.
You say everyone's caught up, but I feel like you might need to tell that to the JOC players who are playing frontline Ezreal still. I think on day 2, now we're all caught up.
They had more to catch up with, so they needed one extra day, basically.
Okay.
It's a pretty big sample size of how many times you saw Ezreal in the front line. Maybe more than I think I would like to count.
Hey, the Prowler's Claw.
Why is it so bad? It's amazing. You have this extra frontline power and he jumps back and then instantly ults. You have an early ult. If you have good items, you can instantly shred the enemy frontline, backline. That's actually great. Combined with Hui 3 full itemized, you pop that backline.
Really fast.
So it's a little bit weird that they point this out this much.
Played from APAC, and they were heads and tails above the rest of the field of competition.
Yeah, that's kind of what we expected to see, because what we saw from the Golden Spatulas of different regions was about reroll played 2/3 of the time, and the non-reroll played about 1/3 of the time. The stats are a little bit more favored in the reroll line, but I think that comes because it is, days 1 and 2. Those are the comps that get you into the top 4, not necessarily reach that cap for the win, but that consistent good placement.
There's actually a direct correlation between the AVP of each region and the amount of reroll that they played. As each region has played more reroll, their AVP improves and improves. CN is actually the exception to the rule, though, where they have a lot of reroll, but they're the only region performing with these 4 or 5 cost lines.
That being said, the top 4 performers specifically from each region, for APAC, 87% reroll in their games. For Americas and CN, around 75%. So the top CN players are still playing a lot of reroll. For EMEA, 50%.
Wow.
I think this starts to maybe help us understand why there was an underperformance for our region in day 1.
There's an argument there, though, that I wonder if it's actually EMEA indexing less on reroll, or actually just the EMEA players are getting bullied out of their lines.
I think it's a combination of both, really.
Well, one thing's for sure is that these 2 distinct play styles are going to be very important for our players to understand heading into day 2 of the competition, because we have 7 games to play out today, and after every 2 games, we are going to be eliminating another 8 players from our field of competitors until we only have 8 remaining. Every point is going to matter. But we had noticed a couple of these more unique compositions, I guess we will say, that we have analysts on standby to break down with our tactical breakdown presented by HyperX. So let's go ahead and send things over to Makes and Hoopeson.
Thank you, Necra. Okay, we're here to explain a concept in TFT. If you're a challenger player, you already know this, you're an expert, but this is on-hit mana generation, and we will do it explaining this Ezreal that I have right here. Makes, we need a name. He's in the front lane. You have something?
Yeah, so I am going to say we're going to be calling this one Daredevil Ezreal.
Daredevil Ezreal. Okay, I like that. That's good. So we have it here. This is the Ezreal, okay? We have it in the front, so come here. And now what we're doing is we have it in the front line. So every one of the units that we have here will come across him, so they will surround him and only auto-attack him. and that will generate a lot of mana for Ezreal and will enable him to dash away. And when he dash away, he can perform, obviously, his ultimate, then he can heal himself, and boom, you get the total ultimate right there. I think I made a mess, but it's fine. That's the explanation we're looking for. And then he can hit it. So normally, a unit that is range, you don't need a dash. But now, because of CN server, they're looking for this tech that actually gives a lot of utility, and it's very innovative.
Yeah, it's something usually comes up with melee units, but here, like you're lining out, because of how the spell of Ezreal works, we are going to see this in play. And it was played a couple of times yesterday. We're going to see an example of this one right now. It's going to appear on the enemy board in just a couple of seconds, so we'll wait while we get there, loading on over.
I think I saw that, yeah.
The image should be familiar to what you were seeing on the
Ezreal front line here.
Everything is loaded in. And then if you look over here, you see that front line Ezreal. Now on some boards, the other frontline units. Yes, the other frontline units will be lined back even to assure more hits. Here playing it a little bit safer with that Ezreal being surrounded by the rest of the field. But let's see how that plays out. Of course, at the very beginning, gets those cast very quickly, then jumps on over and is going to go into that back line, as you can see over here. And from here on out, he's going to get a couple of pretty free casts as no enemies are nearby. But towards the end is where this unit can really clutch it out, because you're going to see the rest of the board kind of faltering. But Ezreal has a lot of health, and we are running 2 healing items, and you can see him now getting some damage from these units. The cast is nearly there. He jumps once again, and as you can see, every damage that he takes in 1 second is going to be healed back up, and that's a great tech there for you. That's why we're running those double on use, and maybe something you can learn from this set and carry it in.
Very interesting that they in this moment made fun of it, and then in the next moment they actually show an entire play he made, and you saw that Ezreal was in the first second he was Half-Life because triple Briar in the front line, and then he jumps back, instantly ults, and Briar's Half-Life, and he's full life again. So why are they even making fun of it when then in the next moment they show an entire play where Ezreal totally shredded these shapeshifters out of existence? And they're making fun of it. It's very weird that they make fun like this, and it's like, oh, I would prefer seeing less frontline Ezreal. Why the heck? It's perfect if you play blasters when your Ezreal hits tanks his first hits in the front line. Your front line doesn't take this much damage, jumps back, instantly ults, deals a lot of damage, and then Hui can deal the overkill damage with his ult. It's a perfect combination. I don't know what they have there. It's very interesting that they were ranting about it.
I think we might want to just take a brief touch on over here, and that would be.
Come on, give us the games, man.
A bit of a hint of at the top of the broadcast. Sweet Tooth Nunu and Bard reroll. What?
For Sweet Tooth in particular, we did see it from Balmyoung yesterday, and the big difference maker, I think, was the fact that we found the Radiant Warmogs on 3-2 allowed the scaling with the HP to happen in a bigger way, so much faster, and really made that Nunu unkillable.
Yeah, definitely that Nunu. Once you get like the proper conditions for it, right? That's why we don't see it offered that much. Even if you find Sweet Tooth as an augment choice, you're like, do I have the line for it? Do I have the items? Not really. But when it's optimal, it can really go to a first place, and that's what we saw from Balmyoung.
On the other side, I felt like the Bard 3 that we saw, I believe it was Gobo, right?
Yep, it was.
Was probably the biggest surprising board to end up in the top 4 that we've seen yet. So Gobo was playing
the Bard 3
with blue buff Archangels, and the thing that made it really interesting was the Spellblade. So clearly it was set up for an Ahri where you missed the Ahri, but you accidentally hit Bard 3, and what was happening was Bard would ult, give additional damage amp for the target towards the target that Bard was hitting, and then he would get an Archangel's empowered Spellblade auto attack and essentially turn into a one-shot machine. It was a sight to see.
Yeah, I think what's so impressive is if you're
it's
going
extremely
for Ahri and
exciting
it's contested right and you don't hit, usually you're expected to land in the bottom 4 there. So what lines actually are able to bail you out, right? That's a game that is a very good third, recognizing, hey, Bard can be win condition. I'm on level 6. I'm not expected to hit Bard 3, but recognizing that that was the out, played the game very, very well.
We're going to have to see if any of our competitors can keep cooking.
They don't show the plays.
We get ready for
That's
our
boring.
First game
These plays were actually really great. The last fights of Bard and this Sweet Tooth Nunu
during yesterday's phase of the competition. And so there's some big ones. I'm looking at lobby 3 right now, and I'm saying that's about to be a toughie.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's heavy hitters all around. Yeah,
they're all so hard.
Lobby 3, ZUA, and Milk definitely stands out. Lobby 1, though, it's a lobby essentially of all APAC players, which, you know, at first I'd want to say, like, man, that's not fair. And then you realize that none of the APAC players got eliminated yesterday, and we actually just can't avoid this from happening.
Well, we are going to be showing only one of the lobbies on the main broadcast. Make sure that you check out the other lobbies that are going to be covered on our alternative Twitch
So one
channels
lobby is
by
not
our
being
other
live today.
amazing
1, 2, and 3.
casters.
Lobby 4 is
Also
not
make
going
sure
to
that
be
you check
online
out
today.
the amazing Twitch
Live now,
extension.
live now, live
How
now.
you guys been enjoying that?
That
Okay.
thing is so... I found it by accident. When I saw that thing existed, if you
They're not gonna
if you do not have the
online
Twitch
today.
extension enabled, make sure it's enabled right now. It actually is revolutionary in watching TFT broadcast.
You basically get the same information we get as casters, so you're able to really see the bigger picture of the lobby, what everyone is trying to do, what their general game plans are for that stage 4 and 5 in particular.
Yeah, if one of the people in chat who are like, hey, you know, who's running this? You can just click on the extension.
What's the
boom,
portal?
see.
Click on the tent on the top.
Exactly.
Love it. We
Yeah,
love
if it worked.
giving everybody more knowledge. So let's see if we can learn something else.
Okay,
as we
here,
jump
first game
into
is
our
already-
very first game of the day. We're going to be following lobby 1, and this is where we need to see.
So this is
the
lobby
digital
2, this is
redemption
lobby
arc
3.
After what we saw from his performance yesterday.
You know, he kind of started
And
the arc
here
himself,
is
though, right? Started off
lobby
very
4,
slow
so-
on the day, and then ramped up, and eventually he actually had a really cool high horsepower game to end the day with a first place finish.
Yeah, it was fantastic, right? And dished up a player who was no stranger to taking big risks on day number 1. He actually started the day off with a golden quest.
Very
game,
interesting.
Landed in the bottom 4 to be able to
All
have
APAC
that
players
line identify, okay, it didn't
in
quite
one
work, but able to come
freaking
back from that, right? With a
lobby.
3rd place and a first. Very good.
If you're not interested in having APAC players dominating
and showcase their creativity,
this Tactician's ground, then you just put them all in the same lobby, and then you hope that they
worked in a spectacular way.
hack and
The
slash
comps
each
were
other
absolutely
to death.
massive in that final game of day 1. But also Ironbach, who played that 8 Bastion Callista, throwing us back to the Target Aphelios comp all the way back in set 9 in Terror and Forge, where you have this hyper-scaling Rageblade AD user in the backline and this unkillable shield.
Okay, we're not gonna listen to these people here. We're gonna watch the game. Kinda bored by this constant blabbering. Gonna watch here.
Standard, they can, you know, angle towards a top.
Okay, we have a silver augment,
Okay,
means we don't really have any.
But for other players,
We won't really get anything.
where they're really going to be starting to think.
Already telling us what comps are being played. We have latent force here. I think this is
augments for everyone in the lobby, so we'll see the choices are made. AFK.
I would go here for branching out maybe, or Spoils of War one.
Play with, but that is a rare pick nowadays. Featherweights could be really good, especially considering how many 1 and 2 cost units we have seen rerolls here. We see some choices on your left side as well already. So Panda, for example, taking those keepers. A-Ray is going to be playing
Going for the gold here.
for a while there until he gets
A bit of
back
extra
his
gold.
artifact. Volta already playing on that reroll with the Pandora's bench and
Double Shyvana. Oh my god, that's definitely shapeshifters here.
some form of reroll as well.
Double Shyvana. At least 2.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Pandora's bench.
He also went for Sunfire
Yesterday,
instantly.
We saw it picked up a few times. As you mentioned before we got into game, it's very, very reroll heavy. It's going to be favoured by so many players. And interestingly, Spencer did here go for the Spoils of War, but was hoping that they could maybe kill a few more units. Thought I've got a couple of upgrades here, but not really the case.
Didn't really kill
It's just in
anything, right?
general, though,
Only
a
one
really
Shyvana.
strong pickup. If he's leaning towards this potentially Seraphine Soraka line, you're going to spike your board pretty early, potentially even at 3-1. You could be hitting almost everything you need, and then you could really start getting value from this spoils. But we are checking in here with Panda, who is clearly the one player in the lobby that's open forting. Maybe there's more than one, but as of what we've seen so far...
Wait, Panda
it
is
seems like
100
Panda's the one
HP.
that's off the back of winning
You
the first
won,
round,
and now he's selling?
eyeing up a
He
lot
sold
of it,
his
so
board and
interesting
goes with...
that they
Oh, okay.
opted to sell off most of their board.
He sold his board so he get money. Okay. Shieldbreaker, that's definitely a mage board here, so we can actually hold already in lobby 2. We can go with mage. We have shape, shifters.
Every time I saw keepers, that was multi-striker.
Maybe Vanguard.
And that's actually a
Who's
great
going
combo
straight
that
for Vanguard? We have to
the
see what's
Hacker
going
in
on there.
Kali especially.
Here they
Getting
say
those
Ash
extra
2.
big shields is so helpful, so she can actually do some work on the back line before getting killed.
Yeah, incredibly
There's
strong right
double
now.
hunter.
Feels like
There's a
as
Cassiopeia. So you.
so many
Okay,
players are
yes.
playing it. We've seen Ash and Jax have success. The frontline bruisers doing really well in the likes of Kassadin and Hecarim.
So that's gonna be a Warwick.
A composition right now that can use basically any combination.
Warwick reroll here.
Get a lot of AP
Warwick Vanguard.
Kassadin.
Hey.
Sometimes we've seen
Vanguard. Warwick reroll.
Happen to arrive on level 5 or level 6, and then you can run it as well. So really, I think multi-strikers has ended up in a great place where almost every single unit is carryable.
One thing I've noticed
Let's
about these players
Witchcraft and Bastion. I mean, Hecarim is always good to have early.
sacrificing a little bit of economy. They could be going for
This
20
could
gold
become
mark, 30 gold mark, even
a multi-striker,
they are
but
taking up on having as many units as they can on their bench. In order
not
to
really
have
sure yet.
A little bit more flexibility on their comp. For now, when they still don't have.
Cannot say that. There's a Jinx.
On what they want to play.
He's gonna go for
From
blasters.
direction.
Blasters or portal.
Ezreal with an IE on him already, and we know how
It's a hard commit here, right?
So powerful right now. If you can, of course, they are so expensive, so it's gonna be really hard for you.
Shapeshifters
To everything you need online about
and
comp.
hunters.
But if you do, comp based on an
Mage,
based on a Hui,
Bastion Ari,
top one really easily.
Vanguards,
Yeah, it feels like in the first day we saw Ezreal
Mage. No, Bastion, Zoe, Seraphine. So it's not really clear yet what's gonna be played. So we're gonna hold still and wait. The other games also started now. Here we have a prismatic start. Here we have a gold augment start. Here we have a school mascot player. Okay, so we have one Eldritch in lobby 1. That's good to know. Eldritch
a little more situational than some of the
with school mascot.
Yes, I would agree on that.
Beautiful. Then we have a mage player.
Way borderline. That is really good.
Mage.
That's exactly the point.
It's good to get these things early.
And then you're gonna need something like a 3-star Mordekaiser in the front line as well. So that is so much gold. So you need to be playing from a.
We also have gold augments, but there's a Vanguard player already.
You really need that gold advantage, that HP for you to work with as well. But
For Vanguard.
that Ezreal, for now at least,
Okay, in lobby
very powerful.
4 we have Vanguard.
AoE damage. You can get so
Can be
much
Syndra here, Vanguard Syndra.
wasn't able to keep his win streak up, but still
Can be Vanguard Eldritch.
a bad loss at all. 96 HP and still at the top of the line.
Wait to mute these dudes here. That's strong. That's a strong board. So what do we have here? Multi-striker. There's 2 people playing multi-striker so far. Bastion Ari. Honeymancy. Do we have any hero augments? Nope. But that's not really... Okay, you got 2 tanky, right? Transfiguration... Hunting for these Warwicks. 2 Warwicks left. It's very interesting that the players remove the items before combat against Crux. Because for me, like, I'm so resource oriented that I never do that usually. So it's very interesting. He's also not collecting his stuff. Ooh, another Warwick. And a Mordekaiser. Twitch. Warwick 3. There we go. Okay. Watch. That's an interesting choice here. Oh, shapeshifters with hunters, but might play shapeshifters. That is early Warwick with these items. It's going crazy. It's gonna give a good win streak here if he's playing it fine. Shields up. I think that's an easy choice here. Shields up, yep. Makes total sense in my opinion. That's solid, I would say. That's pretty freaking solid. Interesting that he sold his Swain here because that would be another Frost unit. But I think he's trying to hit these Twitch and Twitch 3, Blitzcrank 3. Very, very interesting here. That's going to be a very disgusting comp to play against. So let's check the carousels here. Okay, we're far away from carousel. This could be... Okay, let's augment choice here. After augment choice. Here's augment choices coming up. And here we are also in front of the augment choice. Okay, so we have a little bit of time. We can watch this here, relaxed. But can you show us other comps than just like holding on this Warwick player here? It's a little bit boring, to be honest. We just watch the same person over and over and over again. We're not him. Okay, there we go. There we have mages. But we have seen these. Lobby 2 mage. Vanguard. He has to face the Warwick player. So they love the Warwick player. They absolutely favor it here. Or favor Volterics. Very interesting. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna watch this Warwick dude playing his game. Just ignore everything else. Then we have Vanguard and Kantor so far. I was pausing here then a little bit. Okay. Carousel. We also need to check if we hit carousel here. Here we should now. Here we hit carousel now. Gotta wait for a second. So there we go. We have in lobby 2 we have blasters. Oops. Okay, in lobby 2 we have blasters. We have that looks like Bastion Hunter. Something I don't really can say yet. And multi-striker. We have Bastion Ari, classic. We have shapeshifters. I already Hint that down. We have the Warwick reroll. We have mages. And we have... Ooh, okay, that's... Vanguard in Kantor. Vanguard in Kantor. And this, I cannot really say yet. That might be... Honey Hunter, something like that. Might be pivot into... Jinx. And then we have here... In lobby 4, we have a Hunter Jinx. Need to check here if we... okay. Oh, we have it here. Perfect. And here, also perfect. That's great. So we have Hunter Jinx. We have Vanguard in Kantor or Vanguard Eldritch in Kantor. We have Honeymancy so far. We have Bastion Ari. We have Hunter Jinx, another one, because we don't have enough of them. Can also be shapeshifters, but not sure yet. We have, yeah, of course, he will pivot into shapeshifter, will Briar. Hunter, Briar. Then we have potential blaster player, maybe. Mage. And Bastion Ari. Oh my god, so many players try to play Bastion Ari. This is not clear yet. Honey, Mancy, Bastion so far, but we have to check that. And then our lobby 3 or here we have, it looks like blasters, but not really focused on that. Shapeshifter, blasters, 2 blaster, 2 shapeshifter, triple frost. Not really sure here. Then we have Vanguard and Kantor. Vanguard and Kantor. We have Hunter Jinx. We have Bastion Ari. We have Blaster Hui. We have Multi. We have Shapeshifters. And we have another Bastion player. Jinx. There's a... Would be Fairy. Fairy, something like that in this. Pandora items. Need to check here. Fairy. What augments does he have? Tiniest Titan. Tiniest Titan. Check here again. So lobby 1. Mage. It's gonna be Vanguard here. It's hard to say what this is, which emblem. Honeymancy. Multi. Shapeshifter Eldritch. Ah, that was... Yeah, that's School Mascot dude. Bastion Ari, of course. Bastion Ari. Tarek. Lilia. That's Vex here, right? And another multi-striker. Multi. Have to see what they're playing here. Third augment choice. It's gonna be Vanguard Arcana here. Ooh, Eldritch Emblem. And Fairy. "26 HP left. Oops. Almost dead here. But his Fairy are going crazy right now, so actually not that problematic right now. So we have Eldritch. Ooh, nice. Shyvana too. I love Shyvana with Eldritch Emblem. It's just so good. Fiora. We are 2 Elise away from Elise 3. Oh, okay, he put... because... Oh, instead of Warrior, right? Oh, that's interesting here. He sold her his... Oh, crazy, so many gunblades. He sold his Fiora. Oh, oh. Jinx is getting rammed here. Oof, that's a loss. But he makes his money. Interesting Jinx comp here. Ah, here we have the next. That's good for us. Okay, so we check again. We have Eldritch School Mascot. So we have Mages. We have Arcana. Bastion Arcana. We have Jinx Hunter. We have one multi-striker player, right? Yeah, multi-striker and Fairy multi. Fairy multi. Honeymancy player. Honeymancy Kog'Maw. Vanguard Arcana. Yeah. No, that's Vanguard. It's Vanguard Ari. Eldritch. Fairy. Ari Bastion Ari. Okay, so that's cool here. Nice. And then we have here lobby 3. We have now 1, 2, 3 pre-server, 1, 2 blasters, 1, 2, 3, 4 vanguards. Yeah, blast away. We have Vanguard Incantor. We have Multi-striker. But we also have Fairy. Ah, okay, so here this one went Fairy. And Pandora items, where's our Pandora items dude? Here. And Rice. 1, 2 scholars. 3 Rice, Scholar. Scholar, Rice. Oh, Mold is already out here. It's almost top 4 here. Lobby 4. We have a shapeshifter player here now. 6 shape, 3 dragons. Very. Ah, yeah. You went Fairy. So we have Hunter Jinx, Mage, Fairy. Ari reroll here with. No, Honeyman's reroll. No. And shapeshifters. Yep. Where did the emblem go? Here. Ooh, okay. He totally focused on Hunter Jinx because the other player got eliminated. Hunter Jinx. Shapeshifters instead of the Arcana player fell out. Killed. Language enrich. No. Oh. Did you see that? He sold his Veigar too for Veigar so he get gold. Because he had a Veigar in shop, then he put Veigar, then he rolled. Didn't find a good charm, so he rolled again. And then sold Nami to actually get 30 MR or 30 MR charm or 50 MR charm. Crazy. What a play, and this might just give him one more round survival here. Oh, and he made top 4 by that. Crazy. What a play. Briar 2 feeding his Briar into oblivion. Lobby 3. I think these comps are very stable actually, that we don't have to check anything. Here's top 5, here's top 6. Okay, yeah, that's easy. Maris survived another round here. Deathblade or Spear here for Varus maybe? Oh, why did they switch now? Ooh, okay. That's a little bit more frontline, earlier cash out. He already reached his first cash out here, so actually... Oh, if he survives that, not sure if he will survive. There's a Smolder 2, we have a Briar 2, he has Collector, so that might be the end. That might be the end here. Whoever wins kills the other one. That looks bad. And Darkest defeats Maris here. With his Honeymancy reroll. The other Ahri players couldn't really do anything because it was contested here. Very interesting. HR Ilya won the EMEA Cup. So this is actually here a favorite, I would say. Ooh, with Hunter Emblem. Okay, he got Hunter Emblem. Yeah. Oh. Maybe do it like this. But they prevail and they kick out Cubixon. 1v1 Hunters versus, I don't know, the other team here. Oh, Dragon, big charm here. Finds another Wukong. He will survive one more round, right? If he will survive one more round. So if he can find Wukong 3 here, it's gonna be a tough time for shapeshifters, but Darkest has Smolder 2 with perfect items, he has Briar 2 with perfect items, he has a Nasus 2 with really good items. So, the anti-heal is on Shyvana. She will definitely go for... Okay, Shyvana's dead, so no more anti-heal. Briar is in his backline. Okay, that Hunter dude is dead. Dead meat. So Ilya has like now the chance to hit one more Wukong here. There is no Wukong on the board. Ooh, he might want to go for an item for Kog'Maw here. Hey, what is this? Kog'Maw item. Ooh, Death Cap. So he also get the most gold out of it. Makes sense. Makes total sense. And he couldn't find. Ooh, okay. I see what you did there. Nice. Couldn't really find that Wukong 3. So he doesn't really have frontline. That's a big problem here. Sacrificing Nomzi. I think this victory actually goes to Darkest. Problematic that Ilya couldn't find this Wukong 3 here. Yep. And it's a first for Darkest. GG, well played. So we have Hunter Jinx. What will be lobby for? Hunter Jinx first and second, and we have Bastion, Shapeshifters. Where's our Shapeshifters here? Ah, yeah. Shapeshifters made first here. GG. Also over here we have the last fight. And here it's almost over, as I can see. 1 HP left. 1 HP left for Dish Soap. And here we have final fight. Volterix versus Title. I said Title, crazy player, crazy APAC player here. Was top player in the world for quite some time, I think 2 weeks or something, and he makes a very nice comeback here. He just took 20 HP from Volterix. Okay, he finds that Blitzcrank 3. He's immune to crowd control. He goes for Ari 2 here. Did he buy a charm? I'm not sure. I didn't see it. With his Warwick comb, so this would actually be amazing if he can find... He even found Vanguard Crest. Ooh. So which Vanguard does he not play? He gave it to his Olaf. Crazy. Let's see who can actually prevail here. Oh, I think that's the end of Title. Maybe not. Maybe not. Soraka and Seraphine. Ah, okay. Title is down. Volterix wins here with his Warwick reroll. With his Warwick reroll, makes a first here against Mages. And we have the last fight here.
All of his HP up until stage 4, and once stage 4 happens, he uses that time to stabilize, try and go 9, and build a board that can cap out as high as possible.
And the contrast, of course, of one of the
we have Vanguards, 6 Vanguards, Ari.
4 cost lines with the fairy.
We have Mordekaiser 3 here. We have a Rumble 3.
Is that he was forced into this
versus
where he did have
Fairy.
to play way from behind and make the most out of it.
And now look at the board, right? It's Camilio 2, it's Camille 2 with a fairy emblem, right? Ari is really good at taking out that one unit in the front line with that Rakan, so Rakan is going
Rakan
to
is down.
It looks like maybe even Balmyon can go toe-to-toe
Ari
with
is
Storm.
shredding, but...
So much damage.
The
Ooh.
Zaga Proc made all of the damage, bypass that Rumble, instead go straight to the Callis, to the Ari
Boom.
instead.
Wow.
And it's a first for Fairy versus Vanguard.
Takes the game.
Ecstatic for that first big win. This
Locked
is
in.
Fairy first versus Vanguard.
I wonder how our EMEA players would react. if
Crazy.
they got a win in this long.
Crazy
What do we
first.
have, Brad? What do we got?
First rounds here. Very interesting what we've seen. Every game had mages, every game had hunters. And Fairy made